All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. This is Pastor Dow. I need to go into this because I had quite a few people listen to a particular debate, and they heard a book mentioned, and that book is called the Didactic. And of course, immediately, if they're part of Straightway, the first thing they do is they come over to me, Pastor Dow, and then they ask me, what is the Didactic? And let me explain to all of us out there what's gone on, what has happened, so that you can get a basis and understand exactly what has transpired over history, okay? Christians have a belief that God cast off his people, threw away his people, and replaced his people with a new religion called Christianity. And as a result, you will not see too many people who consider themselves to be authoritative people, teachers, or neither will they use what we will call authoritative sources to try to explain to you exactly what the scriptures is saying, because Christians do not like dealing with scriptures. Christians like dealing with church history. And notice, it's a key word here. Do not get church or the word church confused with assembly. All right? Because we have translations sitting in front of us that is written in English. Don't get confused by a lot of these, because remind you, we've all been reared and raised in this English environment by Western philosophy and the Western school of thought. We do not think Eastern. So if we're going to be able to comprehend the concrete language of the Hebrews, we're going to have to actually go to the Hebraic sources. Now, Christians always favor Greek sources over Hebraic sources because, mind you, they're teaching you what they call church history. And this is the reason why that the religion, this new religion called Christianity that Jesus Christ didn't know anything about and none of the apostles knew anything about. And it's really an insult and affront to actually think that the creator of the universe, God, who actually chose Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they were not Jews, they were Israelites, that he actually chose them, Abraham to be the father of faith, and all the ancient Israelites, one family, out of this whole entire earth. He gave them his laws, statutes, and commandments. And it's literally an insult to think that he would cast off and forget his people that he foreknew, when the Apostle Paul, who was also an Israelite of the tribe of Benjamin, which would actually place him under the banner of Judah, because the tribes of Judah consisted of Judah, Benjamin, and the priest of Levi. And most people don't know this. So if you're very familiar with churchianity, Christianity, or something like that, someone, if you ever get into a debate with a Christian that knows church history, they're going to flip the script on you. They're going to flip the script on you. They're going to do everything that they can in their power to try to only stick with what they call their sources, the Christian church's sources, or the church fathers. Now, listen to me, and listen to me very closely, and you really have to exercise some autonomy when you are listening to me, because if you miss any phrases that I say based upon the present conditioning of your mind and all these fairy tales that we've literally have been reared in over the centuries, you're going to twist, warp, and distort the meaning of my words, and you're not going to get it. The didactic is nothing more than what they call, listen very closely, the teachings of the 12 apostles. Now let's stop for a second. What is these books called the didactic that is the so-called teachings of the 12 apostles? Hold on, time out for a second. Because we have the teachings of the 12 apostles written right here in the New Testament. We got Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. We have Paul, his letters. We have the gospel and letters. So what is this other source? See, this is what I keep saying. And this is the switcheroo, because this newfound religion, and then this so-called book called the Didactic that is so-called written after the 12 apostles. Why would the apostles, who was taught by Jesus Christ himself, Yah manifested in the flesh, you know, the one who never changes, according to Malachi 3:6, I am the Lord thy God, and I change not, therefore you sons of Jacob not consumed. Hebrews 13:8, Jesus Christ the same yesterday, today, and forever. Psalms 89:34, I will not alter nor change anything that has gone out of my lips. Why all of a sudden with this new religion? I keep saying over and over again because Moses was a Hebrew. Abraham is obvious he was a Hebrew. David was a Hebrew. Jesus was a Hebrew. Paul was a Hebrew. And I'm using all those because all those are people that we're familiar with throughout Israelite history. Not church history. Israelite history. Why would they keep the commandments of Yah? Including, you know, that means especially the test commandment, which is the 7-day Sabbath. And then turn around and tell us that all of a sudden he favors the first day of the week because it is the Lord's day. Now, where in the world do y'all come off with automatically assuming that Sunday is the Lord's day, and your references and sources come from people that you know, penmanship, the scribes that exercise penmanship, Ignatius, Marcion, Tertullian, Jerome, Polycarp, and all these other people. So soon after the death, burial, and resurrection of Christ, and we have over in Acts 13, Acts 17, and Acts 18, all the early assembly keeping the 7-day Sabbath, but all of a sudden, 100 years right after the death of all the apostles, we get this new book called the Didactic, and it's going to give us a window for us to be able to peer into and look at the early Christians. First of all, none of those people I just got finished mentioning were Israelites. I'm talking about Ignatius, Marcion, Tertullian, Jerome, Polycarp, all these people. All these people were Christians after their own right. Don't want to confuse this. But none of those people were Israelites. If you're going to use that perspective, I would rather trust Moses, the prophets, and the apostles, and especially Jesus Christ being the chief cornerstone, as opposed to somebody writing a bunch of books telling me what the 12 apostles had written in a didactic, and the first thing they're going to do is change the Sabbath day from Saturday to Sunday. You see, this is the deception. This is the twisting, the warping, the spinning, and the distorting that these so-called Christian theologians use to try to substantiate their doctrines and their falsehoods of this pagan idolatry of Christmas, Easter, and Sunday. The three main pillars of Christianity are all, in fact, pagan in nature. Every single one of them. And if you don't know that they distance themselves from the apostles, from the prophets, in favor of their church fathers, and I'm going to say it again, surely the scribes have done exercise some type of penmanship. Have to be very, very careful. Very, very careful, because I don't read the epistle of Ignatius in the Holy Bible. Now, they expect us, you know, the irony of all this is that these people will reject the books of the Apocrypha, but they want us to receive their church fathers. Where's the epistle of Ignatius in the Bible? In any of our modern day Bibles, where is it? Or Marcion or Tertullian or Polycarp or Jerome? Why aren't they written in the Bible? I mean, can we really truly say that they are inspired sources? You see, that's too much mental gymnastics going on. And you have to understand, these Europeans who have tried to practice replacement theology and have been doing it for quite a few centuries, they are masters of deception and master spin doctors. And they will have your mind all twisted up, warped, and confused, and have you just stuttering. Listen, stick with the scriptures. Stick with Moses. Stick with the prophets. The apostles never came to give us another way. No, didn't do it. That's why 2/3 of the New Testament, what has been defined as the New Testament, which is really the New Covenant, which is called the Brit Hadashah. Think about this. That's why 2/3 of it, you can find a direct quotation in the Old Testament. Jesus told you, don't you even think that I come to destroy the law or the prophets. I didn't come to destroy, but to fulfill. Paul told us in Romans that the law is holy, the commandment is holy, just, and it is good. I feel sorry. I really, truly do. But that's all I can do, is I can feel sorry. But I'm an Israelite. The Bible is a history of my people, easily to be proven. But also, you need to realize when people don't have the ears to hear, because you're not going to convince someone who is reared and steeped in lies and church tradition and think that they're going to actually stop preaching and teaching this apostasy. Christians are pagans. That's all there is to it. Easily proven. So don't go out there and try to get into a Greek fight with these folks right here, because I'm telling you, they are not the people of the book. They practice transgression, and they don't love him because they don't keep his commandments. It's pretty much that simple. Anyway, just thought I'd go ahead and hit that here this morning. So if you want to use the Didactic as inspired writings from the Christian perspective, that's your prerogative. You can do that. I personally wouldn't do it. I would stick. I don't know what's wrong with. What's wrong with Bereshit? What's wrong with Shemot? What's wrong with Laika? What's wrong with Bar Mikvah? What's wrong with Davarim? What's wrong with them? I don't get it. What is wrong with the Torah? Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. What's wrong with it? If you would just spend some time and read a little bit of Hezekiah's writings, commonly called Ezekiel, and Jeremiah, you would see that those two prophets right there, especially Yesaiah, Isaiah, you would see those three. Let me go with those three. They had a very good understanding of the signs of the times, what was taking place. And the other book that parallels the book of Revelation, which is Daniel, you would actually see exactly what was going on, because the apostles never wrote anything new. And no, they did not give us the first day to replace the seventh day. That is idiotic and that is stupid. Anyway, when you have one of another nation who has practiced occupying and hijacking the faith of somebody else, they're going to repackage and rehash it, and it's going to resemble paganism, and they're going to give it to you. I promise they are. And this is the deception of the hour. Remember, by their fruits you should know them. And not everyone that say that they're an Israelite is an Israelite. And most people just flat out don't say it. They actually tell you exactly who they are. They tell you, I'm a Jew. I'm a Christian. I'm a Muslim. Now, find any of that in the book. And mind you, they always say, you have to look behind the words. You have to look behind the words. You have to look behind the words they want you to look behind. And the disciples were first called Christians at Antioch. In the Roman province of Antioch, they were called Christians. They were disciples. They were called Christians. I guess that's the same way. And the Hebrews, the Ibos, the Negroes were first called niggers in America.